So I'm here live with Danny B.
That's me.
And he's originally from the D&E show.
Yeah.
And Danny B Live.
Yes.
And we've got a couple of questions for you. So
of course.
We'll start off here. I'll start off really quick. I know you from working at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yes.
That's where we started.
We met there at the lovely Buffalo Wild Wings. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for Tiny, we probably would have never done any of this. You would have, but I personally wouldn't have.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know. Long story short, yeah, it was just a weird youth growing up with the internet and webcams and wanted to play, so got into it, and then Tiny got the bug, and then well, you got the bug. And it's just kind of how it goes, man. Once you do this stuff and you talk to people and they see you and for some reason show interest in you, as oddly as that is, they want to know more about you and what crazy stuff is he going to say today. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. It's just like I got the bug, he got the bug, you got the bug, and now you're kind of rolling with the bug, and I'm slowly sliding back in there.
Exactly. So we'll start off here with. We'll start with my first question for you is, so when did you start doing the actual web show? When did you start doing this?
The actual web show started in 2008. I was actually sitting on, just started getting into Ustream, and a girl that I had met through another guy who was doing a Ustream show. He did a Ustream show once a day, and we had started talking in the chat room, and she had introduced me to another couple that were doing shows in the evenings, and they were a little bit more, unfiltered, uncensored, and it was just more of an interesting show to see a husband and wife team going, and I started watching, and I was sitting there, I was like, man, I started to get the itch, I started to get the bug, it's like, I want to do this. Years prior, I had done stuff where I put my webcam out there for a website called drivemeinsane.com. And I put my webcam up there, but it wasn't audio, and it was just kind of a webcams out there. People could see me, and they could talk to me through a chat room. But it wasn't a show. It would just be, I'm sitting in front of my computer, I would put that up. And I got the bug doing that. I was like, people could see me, and they would interact with me. I thought it was entertaining. But then fast forward up to the other show that I was watching with the couple. I was like, I want to do this. So the first night I had expected to just pop up my camera, talk for half an hour, just see what everybody had going on, and I was like, this could be fun. And 3 or 4 hours later, I was still streaming. It was like, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, guys. I got to go to bed. So it was time to turn off the camera and go to bed. And from that point forward, I decided I wanted to do a show again. So I started streaming once a week. A buddy of mine, E, he and I, back in the early 2000s, I guess it would have been early mid-2000s, when we started doing, was messing around with that Drive Me Insane website, he and I would occasionally get together on camera and actually put up a microphone and actually talk to the crowd. And I kind of missed that camaraderie that we had just playing around there, and we turned it into the D&E show, which had a pretty good cult following. I say cult following because it wasn't something out there for everybody. You had to know about, Ustream, you had to know about us, and then you had to know where to find us. So, I mean, it takes true commitment to find us and follow the group or follow the show. So it was our little cult following that came along, and every now and then new people would pop in, and the show started to grow and pick up steam, and like all good things, at its peak is when everything just fell apart. So the show kind of down and out, and during the D&E show we brought in, again, like we were saying earlier, we brought in Tiny, and everybody just loved him. I mean, you guys have seen him in some of the past videos. He is just a giant ball of fun. I mean, you can't not be happy around this man. So we brought him in, and everybody fell in love with him, and as our show started to fall apart, he was actually starting to get together with you, and they were starting to do 2guys2muchtv, so it was kind of nice that even though the door was starting to close on the D&E show, at least that opened up for him somewhere else. So it was nice to see him kind of, I guess, grab the torch right out of our hands and run like a son of a bitch, just, I'm out of here.
That guy running.
So, and now I'm kind of coming back into it, but more in the audio sense. I think I'll do a live stream every now and then, maybe once a month, but I just want to get the podcast going again. It's nice to get my voice out there. And for those who find what I have to say entertaining, and it's purely for entertainment. I don't preach anything to anyone. I don't plan to preach to anyone. I've said it way back with the D&E show, and I still keep that true today. I mean, everybody is free to feel as they do. I mean, believe as you do. I'm not going to try and pass judgment, nor am I going to try and make you believe what I believe. So.
Very good. And then my second question here is, since we were talking about Ustream, I'd like to know, did you actually go with the Ustream at first, or how did you actually find it? Because I found it personally through you and Tiny, so I didn't have to do much searching.
I found Ustream through another guy who he started out with iwearyourshirt.com is the guy. His name is Jason Sadler. It's actually not Jason Sadler anymore. It's jasonheadphones.com, I believe is his last name now, because long story short, look the guy up. I don't want to go into great detail on him, but I was on Twitter, and I was kind of an early adopter into Twitter. I've been with Twitter since shortly after its get-go. I think they'd only been up and running for about a year, and I got this random guy following me, and it's like, I wear your shirt, and I'm like, what is this? I click on it, and then there's a domain name on the side. I click on that, and I see that this guy's getting paid to wear t-shirts, and he's doing a live stream every day, and I'm like, this is interesting. So I clicked on Ustream, and I was sitting there seeing what was going on, and then again, I kind of earlier had said that, or was saying that I ran into a girl watching his show, and she had dropped that the other couple was on Ustream too, and I was like, you know what, I want to do this, and like I said, I just kind of picked up from there. I kind of found it through, basically through Twitter, through one guy, and I think I had heard of Ustream in the past, but it never actually sunk in as to what it was until seeing that I Wear Your Shirt, Jason and his stream, and then picking it up with that couple that was doing their show too. So
now. I have another question here, and this is one that you've kind of touched upon, but I'd like to go back to it. You've had two co-hosts now that you've worked with since the beginning, and now that you're starting over, will you actually pick up the co-host again, or are you going to go solo this time?
I think to keep the show true to what I believe and what I want, I have to do me. And it's nothing against the guys. E and I, fallings out there made things, separate, made us go our own ways, and that, it happens. People grow and they grow apart. As for Tiny, he's a great guy. I'd love every now and then to record a show with him, get him back on there and do something. However, when I do record the show, it is very early in the morning. I'm recording the show usually between 3 and 4 a.m., so it would be very hard to get Tiny to come over and hang out at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to record the show. And because some people are going to wonder, why does he record the show so early in the morning? It's because my wife works early in the morning. She usually has to be at work by 4 a.m., so she's usually leaving around 3 or 3:30. All my kids are sleeping. All my dogs are sleeping, and my house is quiet. And when you record audio, the biggest key there is like with a camera, if there's background noise, you can still see me, so I can distract you when you see me from the background noise. But when it's just audio, and all you're doing is listening, if there's background noise, you're distracted by the background noise. You're not focused on me anymore. So I have to pick the quietest time in my house to be able to record that. So 3 to 4 a.m. is usually a good time in my home. Everybody is passed out cold. I can just turn on the computer, turn on the microphone, and here's my spiel. Here's what I got to say. I record my half an hour to hour-long episode, and then I go back and listen to everything and make sure it sounds good, convert it, upload it, and then wait for everything to just kind of update and for everyone to get the new info. So, but to go back now, it would be nice to have co-hosts from time to time when I can set something up, when I can get it in the schedule where we can find a place to maybe record the show where it's quiet. I've got some thoughts about that on a place where I might be able to use. You may have seen that in the episode prior to me on the On Location. I did notice a big open vastness that was in the way back of the building that might be available. Just got to do some talking and see what they say.
Yeah, Mind Games is good like that.
See?
So
you like how I did that, huh?
Exactly. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back. So we'll go ahead and we'll stop our recording here. Okay, and I'm still here with Danny B.
I haven't gone nowhere yet. Still here.
And we've gotten to a kind of part where you've talked about your show on Ustream and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans in the future for that show in particular? I know D&E is completely gone.
Yeah, D&E, as far as I can tell, is done. It's kaput. It's finite. There might be a chance of resurrection way later in life, like right before we put our feet in the dirt. But for now, yeah. As for the original Danny B show that kind of started pre the D&E show, I would love to go back to doing maybe, for right now, I would like to do once a month a live stream, sit down, get the chat room going, and talk to everybody again. Main reason being is just because, like I had said before, to set up a video show, there is so much more involved. In audio shows, like I said, when you set up the podcast, all I've got to do is turn on my computer, turn on my software, hit record, and talk. You know, when it comes to the video side of it, not that I'm being prima donna or nothing, but you want to make sure you look okay in front of the camera. You don't want to go out there with like a big piece of like marker pen on your face, or like a piece of food or something. And so you do want to at least make sure your appearance looks good, and then you want to make sure that your setting is good as well. I mean, you don't want to have like a bunch of dirty diapers and things like, well, okay, that's the daddy in me, but you know, the dirty diapers and stuff like that all in the background. Plus, there is your setting. And I am slowly in the works of getting my studio set up. The biggest thing, and I know that a certain individual behind the camera is kind of itching for me to get this thing up and running too, because it's one of those things where a full-blown studio where you're able to sit down and record would be nice. You know, the walls would be set up for sound, lots of sound dampening, lighting would be good, and the equipment would already be there. A lot of, you know, if certain individuals, say 2guys2muchtv, needed someplace to set up that was a little bit more studio, they would be able to come out and do that. And I would like to be able to have that place, and maybe get back to once a week doing the Danny B show with the live stream, and then recording it for later broadcast either through the YouTube or Ustream itself. You can go there and find it. And while at it, of course, obviously do audio recording, because at that point you're already there. All you've got to do is load one more piece of software and hit record. But yeah, I would like to see the show come back. I really would. There's just a lot more prep involved in that. So with my life being so hectic as it is right now, once a month I think is where it's going to be. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think I might set it up for the last Saturday of every month, which would technically have been last Saturday. But I think going forward it'll be the last Saturday of February. I'll start a live stream with Ustream and go from there. A little unhappy with Ustream too. I will throw this out there. Ustream, fix your, I'm going to say, because that's just me, fix your shit, man. Come on. There's no need for pre-roll, mid-roll, and post-roll ads. Just run the ad at the beginning and then let everybody enjoy their show. And then if you want to be jerks, whenever I hit stop record, roll another ad. But in the middle of the show, when I'm in the middle of trying to talk to my audience, you're going to make me pay for the privilege of not having that, and that's not right. You know, you guys make enough money off of the ads on your website. You make enough money off the pre-roll and the post-roll. You don't need to put one in the middle of my show. And I guarantee you, the gentleman behind the camera feels the same way I do, whether he says it or not.
Oh, I totally do. That's one of the reasons why 2guys2muchtv has been on a hiatus of our own, is that, you know, Ustream is kind of broken down quite a bit. I mean, you could run a continuous roll at the end of your show, regardless, you know. Someone wants to sit there and watch all the ad.
Yeah, exactly. and I mean, I still, don't get me wrong, Ustream is what gave me the start. Again, I got a lot of people interested in me and what I was doing. And there were some people there that were, you know, there that saw me through some interesting times, you know, transitions from just getting out of my previous marriage and into the dating scene again, and then nobody really got to see me into the marriage because that was when I was on my hiatus with the show. And I guess since we're talking about the show, I'll give a quick little explanation as to why the show went on hiatus. The D&E show went on hiatus just because of, again, like I said, people growing apart. People were seeing different things happening, and Tiny grabbed that torch and, like we said, he took off running with it, and he went to another thing, and I'm glad. I'm so happy for that man. I hope one day somebody will pick him up and put him on a sitcom and give him hundreds of thousands of dollars an episode. It's worth it. He's worth it.
He's totally Chris Farley. He's the reincarnated Chris Farley now.
Yes, he would be good. But the Danny B show didn't pick back up. It tried to, but it didn't pick back up after that because I was getting into the my relationship with my now wife and my 3 children. I had 3 boys. I have my 3 boys from my previous marriage, and then my wife and I had talked a little bit back and forth about what we were going to do for children, because after my 3 boys, I decided I didn't want any more, so I can't have any more kids. And we had talked about the different options. And we decided on adoption, actually, was the option we chose. So we were getting everything ready for the adoption and trying to get all of our ducks in a row there. Lots of legal stuff to go through. Lots of money has to change hands. I mean, lawyers need to get paid. Agencies need their money for paperwork and background checks and this and that. So we ended up focused on that. And now that all of that stuff is said and done, and we've bought our house, and I have the space now to get a studio put together, my mind is still focused on the family. But now that, like I say, the adoption is done, I'm starting to be able to get back into the show. And that's why I want to start slow with audio and work back up to a video show once my studio is done.
And speaking of your audio show, what are your actual plans for? I know that you're talking about once a month, the last Saturday of the month, you're going to do the live stream. But what about the audio show? Is that going to be a weekly thing, bi-weekly?
It's going to be weekly right now. I'm probably just, for my own sanity and with everything I've got going on, I'm probably going to do it just weekly right now. See how the first year or episode, as these things like to run. You know, when it comes to stuff like this, it's season 1, season 2, episode 1, episode 2 kind of thing. So go through the first year of episodes and see how that goes. And if that takes off and it's going well, and I've got the free time and the ability to record 2 episodes, a week, then I'll do so. But for the first year, I just want to do 1, and if it picks up steam and I've got the ability, I may change that. I'm not going to set anything in stone here.
Putting you on the spot here.
Well, you know as well as I do, man. Anything can change at any moment, and you can go from doing once a week to now, hey, sorry guys, I have to skip this week because there's a little bit of emergency, and then you make up for it the following week with 2 episodes, and then you like the way that feels, so then you run 2 episodes for a while, and then you get overwhelmed by 2 episodes, and you're like, guys, I got to go back down to 1 episode a week. So the schedule may fluctuate, but if you listen to the show and you follow it, the website's getting up and running. Hopefully by the time this gets out on the internet there, it'll be thedannybshow.com. You find me on the iTunes, the Twitter, Facebook. It's everywhere.
And everything will be linked in the description of this.
It's everywhere. So anywhere you want to look, you'll either see this face or hear this voice. One or the other.
Now, you have talked about what's been going on, why you've been on hiatus, but a little more in-depth with the original show. And I know this gets a little personal on it, but just from watching myself, I mean, I only saw the last couple of episodes of the D&E show when it started to go down.
It was more or less just there was a lot more tension between E and I, and it was because of just some personal beliefs or personal issues between the two of us. My life was going in one direction, his life was going in another. I was getting ready to get married and have the family, and he was getting ready to get married and start his own family. And being as I had already been through the whole marriage and divorce, and I'd been in the relationship, and this was actually E's second most serious relationship. So I mean, for the guy, I understand he definitely wants to make his now wife happy, and I don't blame him, but there was a lot of headbutting between he and I because of issues between his wife and my wife, and just the way he and I both were starting to see things. We were starting to see things ourselves on just different levels, and it's not, I can't badmouth the kid. I love the boy to death. It's just we grew apart. Very simply put, we grew apart. And that does happen. And I mean, all we can do is maybe one day, all the BS can be put aside and maybe there will be a reunion. I can't guarantee it, just because right now there is a lot of unanswered questions. Even I don't have all the answers. I more or less just kind of got to the point where I was like, I'm tired of trying. So we'll just take a little hiatus is what ended up happening.
And I can understand that and feel for that, because with Tiny and my schedule, I mean, you saw him on the Mind Games video. that was pure luck because we had to shoot that early in the morning. We had to be there. You know, it was one of those once in a blue moon.
Yeah, it was all the things, the tumblers all fell into place, and it was just boom, perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's the whole thing of moving out here.
Mm-hmm.
It just
kind of distances you a little bit from everyone. Yeah.
Exactly.
However, I have to say, where the Batcave is currently located, I actually lived in this little community for about 9 years. Actually, it was 9 years I lived out here, and it's an interesting place to be. But you are about 15 minutes away from anything important, and about a half an hour away from anything interesting. So.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I moved out to the Bat Cave, and you moved away, and I was like, oh, now I don't even have him.
Yeah, I moved out. I moved out of the little community here. I moved for good reasons. I guess like I said earlier, we bought a house, and you can't really go from renting to owning and not feel bad. I feel great about that. It's like it no longer to me feels like I've basically for the last almost decade opened up somebody else's pocket and just kept throwing money in it. Now at least I've got a little something to show for it. So.
I know that feeling very well. And
yeah.
It's not a hard pill to swallow, but it does get tedious after a while.
But I do have to say, if you're going to live anywhere, this isn't a bad little place to be. There's a little community out here. The price is right.
I call it the gated community.
At one point, there was a gate.
I know.
That was the part that I found entertaining was I did not realize that there actually was a gate there at one point.
I know. I was told that story, and I was like, okay, well now it's known as the gated community, and the Bat Cave's right here in the middle.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to get Google to accept because they got Bat Caves all over the world.
Yeah, and you just want this to be the Bat Cave, yes.
Exactly, and they keep trying to tell me that it's in Crystal Lake, and I'm like, no.
No, it is not.
It is in Granville.
It is in Granville.
Search us out. Yes. Well, you'll find us.
Exactly.
Might not be exactly, because I'm not going to tell you where the Bat Cave is exactly.
The Bat Cave is somewhere in the small town of Granville, Illinois. If you can find it on the map, go like this and make sure it isn't a crumb, because it's very small.
That's about where it usually goes with it.
Yeah, and on a side note too, since we got off a little bit of a tangent about the Bat Cave, and I had talked earlier about the studio. My goals for that place will be nice, and it would be good because I do want to have the ability to open it up to these guys to come out and do their stuff too, because it'll be, like I say, more user friendly for them. The Bat Cave is good, don't get me wrong, but something that's actually set up to do what you want with the proper lighting, proper equipment, and basically the sound dampening is already there. It saves a lot when instead of trying to quickly hang up comforters behind the camera and on the walls so that this way you don't have so much echo. But
well, luckily this room isn't too bad with echo, but it's still not 100%. And that's another thing that we're looking at is we over in Granville, there's actually an old depot. I don't know, you probably passed it many of times. They've got for sale, and they've had it for sale for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to find information on it to see if they'll lease it out, because that'd make a nice, great studio to actually film.
Yes. The big stuff, the big production stuff. Yes. It'd be nice to have a wall where you can hang the green screen and leave it there and not have to worry about rolling it up and putting it away so that this way someone can go to bed.
Exactly.
I understand, sir.
Exactly. And with that, we're going to take a little small break here, and we're going to come back and we'll get this all finished up and we'll go from there.
It works for me.
Okay, so I'm back with Danny B.
I didn't go anywhere, just so you guys know. I stayed right here the whole time. He disappeared though, but I stayed here. Hey, he's like, I gotta go, and he was gone, just like that. It was magic.
It's Batman. It's just that thing. I do that to Commissioner Gordon all the time. So we're kind of wrapping up here, and I've got 2 more questions for you. The big one right here is, where do you see your show in 5 years? Not just the audio show, but the Danny B show as a full.
Where I see the show, me still doing it out of my house, wishing my studio was done. Where I'd really like to see the show, though, honestly, is I'd like to see the studio up and running, and I would like to see the shows being at least able to fund themselves. They don't have to be making me any money, as long as they can at least keep themselves afloat. That's all that matters to me, because regardless, I can put out a show. I don't need the big fancy cameras, the big expensive microphones to put out a show. If I have a following and a group of individuals who is really into my show, they will come regardless. However, I would like to see the show be able to have some kind of funding coming in from somewhere, whether it be through some kind of an advertiser, a silent partner who just likes the show and wants to see it, kind of grow and thrive. However it should happen to be, I would just, in 5 years, I would like to see that. I would like to see the shows being able to provide for themselves, to keep themselves going, both the audio and the video. I would like to see the video show come back. I really would. It's fun to do the video shows because even though they are more set up and it is more of a pain, they're still more fun though, because then there is more interaction. You guys can see when I'm being goofy, when I'm doing something stupid. If I have someone on the show with me, you can see how we're interacting with each other, because to hear it in someone's voice is one thing, but to actually be able to see it is another. To actually see the two people and the interaction is more entertaining. So that's where I would like to see the shows. I would love to see, they're still going to be here regardless. In one way, shape, or form, the shows are still going to be here, whether I'm still talking to you from my bedroom and with a webcam, or whether I finally have my studio up and running. And I mean, we've got a good camera going, great feed, and everything is going great. It's on a much better schedule than by Saturday. Or the last Saturday of every month, which, remember, again, I said it once, I'll say it again, said last Saturday of February, whatever the day is, the last Saturday of every month from this point forward, I'm going to be streaming at some point on Saturday evening. I know most of you people are going to want to go to the bars because I'm noticing that a large portion of my followers or my viewers are from the ages of 25 to 34, which are either family people who have kids, or somebody who didn't settle down and is still floating around in a bar. So I'm either going to have that guy sitting at home who's going to have a kid tugging on his pants like, "Daddy," or I'm going to have that guy who says, "Well, Dan, I want to watch your show, but I got to go get drunk." So
I gotta get rid of this. Get rid of what? You don't need to know.
I got to get rid of something. I'm going to the bar. So
dignity.
If you wake up in the morning, it's just a mouthful of lost pride. You're like, what did I do?
I don't think I've ever had that effect.
As long as it's not coyote arm, you're all right.
More like elephant trunk. If you get that reference, you're too old to be watching this show.
Yes.
But the final and last question, and this is something I've been asking a lot of the people. Since it's more of a request than a question, will you actually join Oathblade Productions and become one of our members?
I would definitely like to. If nothing else, it'd be kind of nice to have a production company available in case things take off. Then I don't have to worry about setup and teardown. I can just say, "Hey, get my show ready for me. I got to do something."
Exactly. That's the whole thing of it.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, definitely. And like I said, I mean, once the studio's up and running, I'd like to see that kind of, be available to you guys for whatever, I mean, so it's definitely not a no. It's one of those, yeah, sure, what the hell, why not,
Especially if we get everything up and running. And I think that's another thing, is that we're not in California, we're not in New York, we're not even up in Chicago, we're in the boonies.
We are in Podunk, Illinois.
If you come and find us, good for you, we'll give you a t-shirt.
Hey, the best way for you to find us is simple. Fly over the state of Illinois, and when you see that one little blip that looks like it could be a town, jump out your plane, land with your parachute in the cornfield next to us, and walk up and say, "Do you know Dan?" If they say
Oathblade, if you say Oathblade and someone actually responds to you, then you know you're in the right area.
You found the right place. If you're wrong, go get on the next plane, hop up, and do it again. But we are literally in the middle of nowhere, about 2 hours southwest of Chicago, and about 2 hours northeast of Springfield. So that gives you an idea. Illinois, just draw a line from Chicago to Springfield and go, and we're right there.
Right, almost right in the
middle. Yeah, we're about right in the middle.
We are Central Illinois.
Yeah. Get on the Illinois River and just take your finger and go like this. You'll find us somewhere.
Exactly.
So
if you get down to the actual Mississippi River, you've gone
back
too
up.
far.
Back up.
Just like if you're trying to find us, if you're going down the river.
If you're going down the Illinois River, it's simple. Pretty soon you'll see a lot of Arco fleeting stuff. Yeah, we're near that.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't say that because they've kind of taken over the river in this area. In general, they've kind of taken over the river.
Yeah.
That's not a mad props to you either, Arco. I'm just throwing that out there. The fact that if you get on a river, you're on a bar, or like on a boat going down a river, you're going to see their stuff somewhere.
Exactly. So yeah, so we've got you kind of on board there. We
Yes,
can't say it's a definite yes.
It's an unofficial. It's an unofficial joining of the families.
Exactly. And that's another thing is that once we get enough and everything, and once we get enough followers and going through, you know, we are going to try to actually get the bigger lot for that production company, the actual studio.
The actual studio, not the recording studio so much as the actual studio.
That's the one good thing about being out in the middle of nowhere. When property comes up for sale, it's usually not that expensive, and there's a lot of space.
Rent is usually very cheap on offices in this area. You can actually find a decent square footage office for between $200 and $300, which is not bad at all. I know actually, I actually do have a job. I'm a PC technician, and I work out of Princeton. And in Princeton, there's a place I've been driving by, and they have office space for rent for $230 a month. I don't know how big the space is, but I know it's in a nice building, and it's $230 a month. I was like, but I don't. The show's not self-sustaining yet. It's not making money for me to do that.
That's what we need. We need that just enough to get it self-sustained, so we can put out more.
Exactly. See, it's not like this interview was our way of saying give us money. That's not what we're doing. It's just it's an interview. I've done internet stuff, and people have found me entertaining, and they want to know where the hell I went. So that's what this is about. But along the way, we brainstorm. So we sometimes usually tend to open mouth and insert foot while on camera. So people are like, oh, they thought out loud. That's a great idea. I'm going to steal it. And then we don't get our ideas. Like my, save the earth, pee in the shower. Somebody else took that and turned it into t-shirts and pins. That's alright, though. It was a great idea, and as long as somebody took off with it. They didn't make a lot of money either, though, so I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, well, see, we don't even want to make money. We just want to make this stuff, but you gotta.
We just want the show. Yeah, we want the show to be able to provide for itself, almost like a self-nurturing child. Like this child comes out into the world, and it's like, oh, look at this baby. He's already got a $50,000 a year job with a house and a car, and he's already got a great career. I mean, everything. That's what we'd like, but it doesn't happen that way. Babies don't come out self-sustaining. They usually come out needing to suck on the teat for a while, and like our shows are currently doing to us, they're sucking on the teat, and we just need to help them mature and grow into something better.
Exactly.
So.
And I think I'll end this here with this, is that since we're in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, and we know that there are quite a few other small people that are in the middle of Illinois.
Yes.
Come look us up.
Contact us.
Exactly.
You can become a guest on my show somehow at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when you have nothing better to do and you want to come over for a cup of coffee and have a chat. Or you can get in touch with Oth over there and maybe work some lights or run a microphone or be the face in front of the camera with the next on, like live on location thing. So, or it might be me.
But yeah, definitely. I want to, challenge everybody out there. If you got stuff, send it to us. We'll definitely boost you along too, because that's what I think we grew up doing with these shows.
It's kind of like a network of networking or a network of networkers who network. Basically, we're doing this and we're putting ourselves out there, and we'll name drop and put people out there too, and the only thing we ask is you give us the same respect. I mean, if you have a little following of people and you put out a show and you want your community to grow and get bigger, let us know. We'll name drop. Once we name drop, just do it back. And you don't even have to necessarily play that game of I'll do it if you do it, but still, it's just the courtesy. We're more than happy to help people grow. We want to see growth in not the community. I don't want to necessarily say the community, but in the world of the interwebs, we like to see growth. Growth is good. It's competition. There are too many YouTubers making millions of dollars, and we need to take that money from them if we can. They shouldn't get all the millions.
No.
I don't even want the millions. I'll take the tens of dollars. I don't even want the hundreds. I don't even want the hundreds of dollars. I just want the tens of dollars. Enough to cover the cost of the domain name and maybe some bandwidth for the month.
Yeah, definitely, because